Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking a look at one of the most uniquely bizarre characters from the classic Chinese novel, Investiture of the Gods, the Fengxian Yanyi.
Yeah.
And if you think you know all the major players in that story, well, you might want to think again. Our mission is to explore the life, the really strange abilities, and the truly unexpected fate of one particular general.
That's absolutely right. I mean, the war between the Shang and the Zhou dynasties is just full of these incredible figures, with
Yeah.
flying swords and magic, everything.
Everything, yeah.
But the character we're focusing on, Zheng Lun, he earns his spot in history and in the celestial order through a method that is, let's just say it's one of a kind.
We have to just start with his nickname, right?
Yep.
The Humming General, Heng Jiang.
Yep.
And the power behind that name is exactly why we're doing this deep dive. But before we get to the battlefield, tell me, what was his day job?
Well, and this is maybe the greatest irony of his whole story. He starts out as a logistician.
What? Seriously?
Seriously. He was the supervisor of military provisions, the Du'e for the Shang Dynasty, serving under Marquis Suhu. So his job was literally managing food supplies.
Okay, let's just get this out on the table right now for anyone who's new to this.
Yeah.
In a world of high fantasy and epic magic, what is this special combat gimmick that gets him the name Humming General?
It is completely unforgettable. So when Zheng Lun is in a fight, he lets out this high-pitched humming sound.
Okay.
And from his nose, yes, his nose, 2 streaks of white light shoot out.
Wait, from his nose?
From his nose. And this light, it's not just blinding, it has the immediate effect of sucking the enemy's soul right out of their body. The texts say it snatches the Hun Po.
I have to stop you there. A general who defeats people by humming and weaponizing his sinuses.
Mm-hmm.
That is incredible. In a novel filled with, high-level Taoist magic and powerful artifacts, that just feels so out of left field.
It really does. And it just shows you the author's creativity, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a power you can block with a shield. It's an internal attack. But, a power that devastating doesn't just show up in a random logistics officer. We have to look at his training.
Right. So where did he learn to do that? Where do you get instruction in soul-sucking nasal light?
Well, he was a student of the true man Du'e Zhenren, who
yeah.
was one of the big figures up on Kunlun Mountain. So for anyone who knows the Fengxian Yanyi, the name Kunlun immediately tells you he's in that, orthodox, powerful lineage, same as Jiang Ziya himself.
And the sources go even deeper, right? They give him a specific status that puts him pretty high up in that world.
Exactly. He wasn't just some random pupil. He was actually a senior fellow disciple to Li Jing.
Li Jing, as his father, the pagoda-bearing heavenly king.
That's the one. So this puts Zheng Lun way up in the spiritual pecking order. He had incredible training, real seniority, which makes his first job even more interesting.
Which brings us back to his loyalty. So despite this prestigious training, he's using his white light nose beam to help the tyrant King Zhou.
He is. He's fundamentally fighting for the bad guys.
And he was good at it.
Oh, remarkably good. That white light was basically an irresistible knockout punch, and it was incredibly successful against the Western Zhou forces. He was getting results.
So who did he actually take down with this technique? It's one thing to say it's powerful, but the names he captured they're big deals.
They are crucial. The sources say he captured several key commanders. They name Chang Heihu for one, but the biggest one by far was Huang Feihu.
Wow. The king of Wuchang. Huang Feihu is one of the most famous defectors, maybe one of the strongest generals to join the Western Zhou.
And Zheng Lun just took him down. It proves the Humming General's ability was absolutely top tier, lethal.
So he's a huge asset for the Shang. He's a real problem for the Western Zhou campaign, capturing their best fighters. But this is war, and the tides always turn. And this is where his story takes a big political shift.
It does. The sources are clear that eventually Zheng Lun himself was captured by the Western Zhou army.
Which you'd expect.
Right. That's the logical outcome for a dangerous enemy general. What's completely unexpected is what they did with him.
Okay, so no execution.
No execution, no prison. He defected and immediately went back to his old job.
Hold on. He was captured after taking down their top people with soul-sucking nose magic, and they just let him start managing their food supply.
Pretty much.
Wasn't that a massive security risk? How do the sources even justify that?
Well, it really speaks to the pragmatism of the war effort. Maybe Jiang Ziya's leadership. Look, Zheng Lun was a logistician and a superweapon.
Right, 2 for 1.
Exactly. To kill him is to lose 2 assets. To flip him, you gain a provisions manager. and this incredibly strange but effective fighter. I think they saw his value in the grand cosmic scheme of things, so he became the supervisor of military provisions, but now for Western Zhou.
A very savvy career move. But the fact he was captured at all means his power had a flaw, right? What was the limitation on the white light technique?
It's a classic case of balancing an overpowered ability. The sources specify it had a really critical distance restriction.
Ah, so he had to get in close.
Right. Devastating up close, but useless from across the battlefield. It's not like a flying sword you can launch from 100 yards away. That proximity requirement means a clever opponent could, neutralize him just by keeping their distance.
So he has to close the gap to land the hit, which is his moment of vulnerability. And that weakness becomes super relevant when he meets his eventual eternal partner.
And that's where the story really starts setting up his ultimate destiny. This counterpart was a Shang General named Chen Qi.
Yeah.
And when the two of them fought, they discovered something amazing. Their weird magical techniques basically canceled each other out.
So Chen Qi had a strange power, too.
He did. Aha to Zheng Lun's hum. It just led to this arcane stalemate on the battlefield.
That's fascinating. The story puts these two perfect rivals together, foreshadowing that they're meant to be a pair. They're cosmically designed to be checks and balances on each other.
That's the dualism the whole novel loves to explore. But before they can settle into that eternal partnership, Zheng Lun has to die.
Right.
And after all the soul-sucking and side-switching, you'd expect this glorious, massive, celestial battle to be what finally takes him down.
But the reality is much, much stranger. So he's killed during the Battle of Mishan. The killer is a Shang General, Jin Dasheng. Tell us what ultimate weapon, what great technique Jin Dasheng used to defeat this senior disciple of Kunlun.
This is maybe one of the greatest subversions in the whole book. Jin Dasheng used
Calbizor.
I'm sorry, what?
Calbizor.
The calcified stuff from a cow's gallbladder, the thing used in traditional medicine, he was taken down by a mundane animal byproduct.
That's the one. It just completely undercuts all of his high-level Kunlun magical training.
But how? How does a calcified cow stone defeat a man who can literally steal your soul? Well, that's the question, isn't it? It suggests that the rules of this divine war are arbitrary, that certain mundane natural items hold this unique power against very specific kinds of high magic.
So victory and destiny don't always follow a logical power scale.
Not at all. It's the ultimate anticlimax, but it's a really meaningful one. It shows how capricious fate can be.
Even for someone of his standing. But of course, in fiction Yanyi, physical death is never really the end. His story continues in the divine bureaucracy.
Exactly. His service, no matter which side he was on when he died, earned him a spot in the pantheon. When Jiang Ziya is conferring the gods at the end of the story, Zheng Lun is posthumously made a deity.
And what's his new eternal job?
He is appointed as one of the Heng Ha Generals, the Heng Ha Jiang. His divine role is to be a gatekeeper. He stands guard forever at the gates of Mount Shishi.
And this is where it all comes together. He's not alone, is he? He's teamed up with his perfect counterpoint, the Shang General, Chen Qi.
Indeed. The two old enemies, whose powers neutralized each other in life, they become permanent partners in death. Zheng Lun is the Heng General, and Chen Qi is the Ha General. Forever side by side. They're the inhale and the exhale, the perfect pair.
It's a remarkable end to his journey. I mean, he was this officer of immense strange power, trained by immortals, could capture kings, serve both sides of a war. His whole life was about this dynamic, close-range power. And his life ends because a guy essentially throws veterinary medicine at him. And his final eternal role is to stand still, guarding a single gate, forever paired with the one person who cancels him out.
And I think what that tells us about the Fengshen Yanyi is that power, no matter how great or how weird, is always second to destiny. This general with a soul-sucking nose, he doesn't get to command armies forever. His job is to be part of a balance, illustrating that the divine order values that symmetry above individual power. His life was chaos, his afterlife is fixed.
So, as you think about the weird, powerful journey of the Heng General, consider this final irony. The general defined by a terrifying, close-range attack is ultimately sentenced to a static, eternal post, chained to the one person whose ability was his perfect opposite. It's a spectacular example of how even the most unique powers are eventually ground down to fit the perfect symmetry of the celestial bureaucracy.
Perfectly put.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive.